The title of my talk today is Shifting Sands. No, I'm just saying. Free Will to Manifest. And
That's it? Today?
Yes.
Free will to manifest?
Free will to manifest with divine, within the realms of divine order.
Cool.
And it's, yeah, divine order is the main aspect. And I wanted to do a song. You did pass out those?
Yes.
This is a song that I played here one time, maybe a shorter version of it, but it's sort of my special and a congregation song today. And it goes with the talk quite well. And if you guys want to sing along or just listen, it's fine. It works both ways. So it's one of those. So I think we'll get started with that, okay? Divine, the intention is mine. Raising the vibe can only be wise. This is clear as the skies now. I find the time to let my light shine. We are one with the divine. We are one with the divine. Finding a way to let our light shine and help those in need. From the love that we are, planting hope like a seed. Let the good thoughts align in the present, not behind. Raising the vibe in this rhythm of life. The beat is clear and sublime now. It's surely the time to let our light shine. You are one as the divine, and I am one as the divine. Finding a way to let our light shine and help those in need. From the love that we are, we can surely succeed. The order is divine, with presence of mind. Raising the vibe can only be wise. This is clear as the skies now. I find the time to let my light shine. We are one with the divine. We are one as the divine.
Yeah.
Thank you. Interesting play and words on that one. It is called One with the Divine, but I really mean one as the divine. It's acknowledging the divine within all of us. It was the purpose. And also, this song was written, I first started writing it right after the flood in Kerrville, so we all know about the things that have been going on in that world. And a lot of great relief efforts going, but that's why it's really about divine order and what happens and what we do about it and helping those in need too as well. And I meant to ask before we got rolling, do you guys have any announcements or anything else before I really start talking about today? Was there anything?
Did we have
Pressing.
something, Carol?
I couldn't think of anything.
Where you're going to lunch? No, just kidding.
I
mean,
We're here and healthy, hey.
Yay.
That's an announcement.
yeah. Well, that's good. Anyway, this, I started with One with the Divine for a good reason. And I wanted to say something. I told a couple of, Angie and Annalie, when I came in, that I just found out early this morning that I'd lost a friend he passed last night. He was
Oh.
Tom Allen at Unity of Bernie. He was a musician as well as he ran all the video, and he had been just an eternal presence there, just a beautiful soul. And I don't know what happened. I've been trying to get hold of people there. He was supposed to cover for me to play music there next week when I'm out of town. I was supposed to play there on the 24th. And I got this wonderful opportunity to go to Hawaii, which I've never been to. My partner's been there several times, and it's just like, I don't want to pass it up. I mean, plans have been made, but then I just talked to Tom a couple of days ago, you know, and it's like to find out, I saw something from his sister, and it's posted about it. I don't know. So I'm in kind of a weird headspace, and that brings up part of why things happen, you know, sometimes, and how do we respond to it. But I'm going to read a little bit from a daily word. I'll carry on here. The song said, planting hope like a seed, which is a really beautiful thing to think of as you plant your love in the world as a seed. Just as the gardener plants tender seedlings in rich soil, I plant thought seeds in the garden of my mind. Meditating on those thoughts encourages those seeds to grow in my consciousness. I have faith my consistently positive thoughts will help produce good outcomes. Divine order. I really want to talk about what I call the intermix of free will and divine order. And I think a good way to start is, let me read another daily word about divine order, because these things keep dropping in my lap when I'm thinking about things, and it was really nice it came up the other day. When I begin with God, divine order in my life is assured. Trying to bring order to my life's more chaotic situations can leave me agitated, frazzled, and exhausted. Kind of the way I'm feeling right now. If I find myself scrambling to cope with sudden upheaval and chronic chaos, I first turn to God in prayer. I relax into the divine presence and feel peace and clarity, bringing order to my mind and body. My breathing slows, my shoulders relax as I regain my ability to think calmly and clearly. I return to activity and use my divine gift of order, along with release, wisdom, will, and zeal. There's some 12 powers for you, to tame the chaos that had previously overwhelmed me. Beginning with God helps me ensure order in my mind and in my life. Worldly matters may be in disarray, but God's order is always mine and is always divine. So, I can certainly relate to that part about chaotic situations, leaving one agitated, frazzled, exhausted. And as I mentioned, waking up to finding out some really news that I really didn't want to see about a friend. And also, I've been really, really busy studying this semester, as I'm still becoming this LUT presence officially. It's taking a while, but it's been a pretty intense semester so far. So why do I think I'm going on the road? I'm still going to be in class when I'm on the road, but it's okay. It's all right. I think there's an energy in the world, and I believe there's a number of us, people in this room, for example, who are in this awakening mindset. And we're on a trajectory, I believe. And it seems to be pitted against this chaotic negative divide and this exploitive type consciousness that seems to be yipping at us from the other side, right? I know you know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to get into much social justice today, but it's hard not to touch on it. Well, the order is divine. The intention is mine. And like I sung, now one can ask the question. And I'm certainly asking that question today. And I posed this question after the floods. Why do horrible things happen? And probably every person who's been up here speaking and a number of other spiritual centers and churches have been asking that question a lot, especially since the flood, in this area anyway. Why do horrible things happen? How does that fit into divine order? You guys can always chime in at any time. But finding out why bad things happen to good people, for example. Why did my friend die this morning? I don't know. Free will. There is an answer. And that question could be particularly difficult to pose. Why do these things happen? But realizing we are, what are we? We're spiritual being in a physical body, that we are the divine within, source embodied, yet one of the strongest forces in the universe is our free will and the choices we make. I'll never forget when I was a youth, a teenager, and I started studying. I was exposed. I was started studying. I was in ARE youth group, which any of you know, Association for Research and Enlightenment. It's an organization that was formed around the Edgar Cayce Foundation about health, a lot of health stuff, and that's really kind of what led me to Unity. But one of the things Cayce said in one of his readings was, one of the strongest forces in the universe is man's free will. And so one asks, how does that figure into divine order? And, well, we're dealing with a lot of negative free wills that are kind of coming at us. How do we deal with putting things in divine order? Back to that first question I asked. Why do bad things happen, horrible things, well, however you want to say it? Linda Martella-Whitsett said in one of her books, she used to be the minister at Unity of San Antonio, and she's been a writer for many years. She said it best, I think she follows up that question with, how am I responding to this? Not so much what happened, how do I respond to it? Are we going to raise our vibration and bring things to a higher place from within? And one can use negative situations and bad things, whatever, in an opportunity to step into greater awareness of our essential wholeness. And when we suffer human loss, and I'm really feeling that today, when things go this way, that way, what we don't want to do is a term I love, don't develop spiritual amnesia. That is to say, don't forget who you really are, a spiritual being in a physical body. What do you do about it? It's also getting through all the monkey mind chatter that we have to constantly take in, and it creates all this buzzing. That takes me out of touch with divine mind. If I start worrying, thinking about things that got to do this, and getting out of what? The present moment. We must stay in the present and be present and be in the presence. So staying true to your essential wholeness is key here. And I see so many people now rising up, and I called it rising up from the flood too, rising up with love. And I'm going to sing a song about rising up in a little bit too. Let's say another affirmation for a minute. I am a living, loving expression of God right here and right now. Y'all say that with me. I am a living, loving expression of God right here and right now. Thank you. I just think that needed to be said right now. Now, to me, divine order is surrendering to the power that is the inherent divine mind within all of us. And when we choose to see it, that is. And that choosing to see it is free will. And that's why I think they work together. When it comes to making decisions, choices, and moving through actions in your life, free will is the power we all have. Remember, that's one of the 12 powers of unity. Power. The power of power. We all have in making the choices. And it also works synchronously, I believe, with divine order when one's free will is in alignment with spirit, in alignment with divine mind, if your choices, and that they kind of all form together. And that powerful force, that, like Cayce said in his reading, is one of the most powerful forces in the universe, is our free will and what we decide to do about it. Now, cause and effect plays a lot in that as well. Charles Fillmore, one of the first things he wrote about in his very first book called Christian Healing is about cause and effect. And it's important that we take these lessons, some people may call them karmic lessons, into a positive direction so that we move beyond the effects of cause and effect in a way that we reach grace. Now, I think grace sometimes it's sort of one of those nebulous, esoteric concepts when you start to really think about it. But it's nothing, grace is not anything you have to ask for. It's there already if you are aligned. If your will is aligned with divine mind. That's the way I see it anyway, is grace is present. Anyway, the karma, what I was going to say about karma and grace relative to cause and effect, they definitely play into what some people think are two realities, absolute and relative. And there really aren't two realities. They are just two aspects of the same level of being. The absolute realm of pure potential, which is what we call absolute reality. They're two dimensions of one reality is what I'm really trying to say. They exist at the level of being, at the level of spirit. And the relative realm is the relative realm of our five senses, existing at the level of becoming human. You experience and utilize free will within your senses in making your choices, but they do work much better, your choices do, when they are in sync with absolute realm of reality, that potential. That's divine order, expressing from divine mind. I know that sounds really kind of esoteric, but cause and effect will always be at play in our lives. It's expressed in our conscious reality. When we move beyond, though, into a level of grace, that's when we use our free will to choose to let go, let God. That's what guides our ways. And then we can experience divine order as our path. Anyway, the tapping into divine mind, the law of divine mind action as it's called in Unity, into the realization of what we are, that being the love we are. And let's not forget about that. You know, I always sing about love constantly. That really interfaces into our present world. Now, this is, I think, an important time for us, all of us. I mentioned the love that we are expressing in the realm of divine order. And I think it's a very important choice to make to express that love. We were all born deserving equality, equity, and justice. Like grace, it does not have to be earned. It's there for us. Some people may think it's not, but it is, really, truly. And that may not be apparent from a lot of the actions of some people, but I think our time has come. And like Jesus said, one of the greatest commandments, love your neighbor as yourself. He also said, love one another as I love you. That's unconditional love, in essence, for sure. Now, speaking of the things happening in the world and things happening to us and people passing that you don't expect, and floods, and we can take action in order to help those things. I mean, that's when our free will comes into effect. If we make choices ourselves as an individual to not burn more gas, I'm just picking off the top of my head, do things that are bad for the environment. All those little things you can say, well, that doesn't really matter. Yeah, it does, actually. If we all do it, that means that we're being conscious to the earth, our Mother Earth that we're in. You know, that's just an example. And that maybe some of these, I don't know how long it would take to not have a 1,000-year flood every few years. And I use that, I'm not being facetious, but it's true. I read something I don't remember, it came across news, I think it might have even been KUT or website or Texas Public Radio. There was a quote from a person, I wish I'd written down her name, working in the relief efforts after the flood in Kerrville. And I thought it was very poignant what she said. And it was just in a standard news story. May this moment not pass without reflection, without action, and without a renewed commitment to building a shared future where these kinds of tragedies are less likely and where, when they do come, we are better prepared to face them together. We can rise up and move beyond. I thought that was very poignant to find that. It was some administrator in flood relief or something said that. It was a very good quote. God as the universe and as my life, present everywhere. That's really the first principle of unity. Now, speaking of divine order, I always love to read Eric Butterworth, who was a unity minister. I know you probably read his writings, whether you know it or not, if you studied any unity. He was very active until he passed in early 2000s. He said an affirmation I thought is really nice. God's law of adjustment regulates all the affairs of my life, and all things are in divine order. And that's kind of putting that's one of the let go and let God. And he further reflected on that. No one can take from me that which is rightfully mine. On the human level of appearances, it seems that changes can lead to loss and injustice. Are we ever seeing that now? For sure. But beyond the appearance is a level of experience where God's law of adjustment is always active, turning losses into gains, revealing the truth. You may have it might have been intended for error, but God intends it for good. That's sort of a quote from the Bible. But there is that in God that forever works for good, as water seeks its own level. No matter what has happened, the law of adjustment is working, regulating, harmonizing, and healing. There is a divine order that is always established within and beyond the experience of confusion. Now I love that, a divine order that is always established within us, and it goes beyond the experience of confusion. So, anybody have any reflections on anything about divine order versus free will? Any of y'all ever even think about that?
Yes,
All the time.
yes.
Yeah.
And maybe we should think of it as versus free will versus divine will. Divine,
Order or will.
yeah, divine order and free will.
Mm-hmm.
That the free will is us as human beings.
Yes.
You know, divine order is the God spiritual thing.
Yes. True, true. And that's why.
I remember going to this, in 2004, I was in New York with a group of theater arts kids,
Wow.
and we had an actress, who was on Broadway, right, and had a minor part on a Broadway show, but she came to do a workshop with us, and we were asking her about 9/11, and how that shifted things, and she said, somebody mentioned that New York feels so friendly. And wasn't used to that because I'd always heard that New Yorkers were not friendly. And she said, this is a different New York.
Mm-hmm.
We totally transformed.
Yeah.
We are, it's
Not the same.
it's not the same, and you could see it in almost every New Yorker
That's beautiful.
because of that experience.
I remember going there in 2006 or 7. I think that might have been the last time I was there. And I felt that too. There was an energy there that was a little more, friendly. I mean,
People were so nice to us, big group of kids,
that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, it
Well,
seems like there's a lot of things going around. I mean, Lissy talked about kindness last week,
Mhm.
and Kathy's talked about kindness, I don't know if it was this month.
Kindness, yeah.
Kindness, and it's just become a big word. I mean,
There's a good reason for that.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
what I'm going to talk about,
Exactly.
I'm going to quote a couple other things here, but it's true because with all the negative pull, I mean, it's
Yeah.
really hard just to sometimes read stuff that's out there, and just the negative energy that's why rise up is a good thing to do. Stand up for the
Yeah.
truth in your heart.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to sing a song about that in a second, but yeah, kindness is. And that's one of the Buddhist principles.
Mhm.
Concentration, insight, loving kindness is what it's called. I love Thich Nhat Hanh's talks on that too. I'm gonna have to go listen to some of those again because it really is. And I think it's how we move in the world. How do we respond? It's the same thing. How do we respond to bad stuff? Now, bad stuff may happen. We call it bad. Words, we can call it events, the floods. I've had, not only did my friend pass last night, I guess, at some point, I don't know any details on it, but my partner had a couple of friends that died in a car accident coming back from a retreat in the hill country a couple of weeks ago. So it's just, it's a lot of stuff moving. But beyond that, I don't know whether there's seems to be more of a exodus of souls saying, okay, we're not going to be in this time and space right now because we need to help because we do, but the awakened is what really has to happen, and all the negative stuff hitting us. I changed a word, myself, and then you may have heard me sing it one time. I may do the song again sometime called Love is for Everyone and Forgets No One. And I have a line in there, you can call me woke until it ain't no joke, but please use the real word, awakened. And think of that. People actually said, I'm not awakened. I said, how does that make you sound, It's the same thing with, I'm in the inaugural class, and I don't know if I've mentioned this to you guys, one of the classes I'm taking right now, which is taking a lot of my time, it is called The Christ in All. It is about diversity, equity, and inclusion in unity. And it's the inaugural class, and it is so good that we're rising up with all the stuff that's hitting that negative. Do you know anybody, I guess somebody might say, oh, I don't like that DEI stuff. Well, say the real word. I don't believe in diversity. I don't believe in equity. I don't believe in inclusion.
Yeah.
Well, what kind of person are you if you don't?
Yeah.
I'm not getting a little too edgy here, but it's the truth,
It's a good
Use the
argument.
real word.
When people bring that up, that I'm around, they know, all that DEI stuff,
Think about the real word.
then
they're not
start
there
saying
anymore.
the words that it really means.
Mhm.
So you don't believe in diversity, you don't believe
Right,
in equity.
exactly.
You don't believe in people being included and living on this earth with us.
Yeah, exactly. Did you care about other people?
So this is what you are voting for.
Right, exactly. And it's like, and that word, the woke, not only is it bad grammar, it's just, say the real word, awaken. That's really what it means. Okay, well, I'd rather be unconscious. Thank you. Not.
Go with someone else.
Speaking of the Tao, I wasn't speaking of the Tao, but I'm going to now. We were a moment earlier at the beginning of the Tao Te Ching. I always do a quote from the Tao Te Ching. I can't help myself. And I wish somebody would make me get off my butt and finish some of these songs that I've got. A couple of them are about that. I need to release some new music. I've got all this music sitting there waiting to finish. But this is from verse 77, and I thought it was really nice. I kind of will try to download, what should I read? If if something comes to me in a talk. This is a long one though. As it acts in the world, the Tao is like the bending of a bow. The top is bent downward, the bottom is bent up. It adjusts excess and deficiency so that there is perfect balance. It takes from what is too much and gives to what isn't enough. Those who try to control, however, who use force to protect their power, go against the direction of the Tao. They take from those who don't have enough and give to those who have far too much. The master can keep giving because there is no there is no end to her wealth. She acts without expectation, succeeds without taking credit, and doesn't think that she is better than anyone else. That is a pretty poignant verse. And I love the fact that many of the Tao verses use the divine feminine as, not all of them do, but I think it's great that they mix it like that. There's a lot of them that, like, there's no end to her wealth. So, the master. So, I do believe that if you put things in divine order, even though there are some chaotic negative forces of people trying to impose their own will onto us, that we talked about in that verse there, they have free will too. We just have to rise up around it and treat it with love. I do believe if we align with Spirit and we let go into divine order, we will be guided to make the right choices and say the right things, or in my case, sing the right songs. We can be the love we are. So, I would like to close this talk with another song before I lead us into meditation with another song. Am I being confusing? No. But I have to sit because I was going to do this song and I can't decide whether to do it on guitar or piano, so I'm going to do it on both. It's just one of those days. But we're going to go into meditation anyway, so I need to be here for that. So. I could do the whole thing on really. All right. This song I wrote right at Easter and Earth Day, both. And I'm going to do part of it, and I've changed it a little bit. It's called Rise Up Through Love. So. It's been quite a week. Every day seemed to reach a peak. Some darker and dangerous days, with chaos trailing in the main. Overcome the overwhelm, leave that baggage of fear behind, standing up for the truth at the helm that only comes from divine mind. Rise up through love. Hands off, those are our sisters and brothers too. Stand up for the truth in our hearts. Rise up, stand up. Rise up through It's been quite a month. How much more chaos can I handle? And it's taken a lot of forgiveness and love. I've done the right thing and lit the candle. Overcome the overwhelm. I leave that baggage of fear behind. Standing up for the truth at the helm that only comes from divine mind. Our farmers' crops are our social security and our national parks. Stand up for the truth in our hearts. Yo. Rise up, stand up, rise up through love. It's been quite a year, too many sad stories that I hear. I turn the cycle of samsara around. Love is the power to which I'll be bound. Rise up, rise